Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to the studio. We got a lot going on here. We got the blank slate game. We've got drinks. We've got phones and audio. We've got microphones. We got all kinds of stuff here. And today's message on, we even got a reflector. I don't know where this thing going on. And with this camera, which is pretty cool, is you can actually turn it into single mode, and then ooh, that's pretty cool as well. Today's message and topic, actually on the Morning Rush community, which we just got out of, is taking massive action. Jim Rohn said massive action is the cure-all. Tony Robbins repeated that all the time. Take massive action. And he said, do it at the site of inspiration. It's like, don't just see a good idea and then forget about it, or say, I'm going to get to it at some day, some point. He said, figure out what the actions are to take immediately. So you start to build the momentum right from the scene of the inspiration or the transformation or the aha, because a lot of times we have a lot of ahas that are like, where'd that aha go? And it's, a week later, month later, year later, like, that was such a good idea. What if I took massive action right away versus it's a year later and I didn't start doing the videos as an example. I would have had 365 days of videos and content that would have significantly changed my social media, my communication skill set. You could go down the line of what the impact of taking massive action on that particular idea would have done for you in a year. So that's the idea here. And that's what Jim Rohn said when he was speaking. He said, why have a great idea and not do anything with it? And then you hear another great idea, and another great idea, and another great idea. And then all of a sudden you have all kinds of great ideas, but you've done nothing with them, versus take one great idea and do a whole bunch of stuff with it. And he said, well, if you got a great idea and you want to share it, do you share it with one person? Do you share it with 10 people? Do you share it with 100 people? Do you share it with 1,000 people? And he said, I share it with 1,000 people. And that makes a ton of sense, because what if it really was a great idea and you shared it with 10 and you got 1 positive response. You shared it with 100, you got 10 positive responses. You shared it with 1,000, you've got 100 positive responses. And in this case, let's say you're selling a product that's 100 customers versus 1 customer. A lot of times people say, I had this great idea, I tried it out. And then the question is, well, how many people did you try it out with? A couple. Versus like a couple thousand. That would be a little different dynamic, a little different result most likely. And the other thing that happens when we take massive action is each iteration is a rep. And each iteration we're probably learning something. And each iteration starts to get better and better. So even that you took the first 10 actions, action number 100, once you've done this over and over and over again, like, we can't help many times, unless we're actively trying to do it worse, we can't help but improve. And so now you go to the gym over and over and over again, you're building muscles. You take these actions over and over and over again, you're going to get better. You're going to get better at the sales conversation. You're going to get better at the story you're telling. You're going to get better at making a video and looking at the camera with your eyes and making good eye contact. I had to figure that out with this camera, because sometimes I'm looking down at the output versus realizing stare at the camera. And I've taught a lot of people a lot of things about how to deliver great messages, but what I also realized, and I was actually talking with a good friend of mine about this after he gave a really great intro and speech earlier this week, was, we operate in certain, let's just say you're 30 years old. You've been communicating a certain way for the most part for 30 years. So if we're going to shift that behavior, we're actually battling against 30 years of habit. So if you actually did want to improve and shift some behaviors, you'd have to actively take regular action, and ideally regular massive action, to shift that behavior. If we've always communicated as like, hey guys, this is how I communicate. I'm a little monotone. I'm a little stiff. I used to be that person. And it took a lot of work to go from, hey guys, this is me being excited, to, hey guys, this is me being excited. It doesn't happen overnight. but it does happen with massive action over time. So I hope this was useful to you. I hope the audio worked, because this is actually coming through my iPhone today. We're just trying out a different audio source and figuring out how this all works. But we're taking massive action in the studio as an example. We're just trying and experimenting and doing more things, and that's what I would impart to you today. Is if you've had an idea, maybe it was an idea from this video, maybe it's an idea you had today or this week. What is the massive action? When we say massive action, it came up in the conversation this morning on the Morning Rush, is it's not just like a machine gun spraying everywhere. It could be, but a lot of people were saying a lot of times I take a lot of actions and it's more busy action than it is focused, targeted, and intentional action. Because when you get really clear on the specific action you want to take and you take it in that particular direction, it's going to have a lot more impact than being all over the place doing 20 different things on 20 different projects. You might actually need to be a little bit more prioritized in the massive action that you're taking. It's not about being busy, it's about being strategic and intentional and taking it in a targeted way. So hopefully this was helpful to you. Another episode of The Morning Rush and another episode of David Rush Unleashed. Hope you enjoyed it. If you had some ideas or feedback, maybe put them in the comments. Let us know what came out of this video. Otherwise, talk to you soon and have a great day.